Welcome to CCRPG, where we open up our virtual table and play games with some good friends. I'm Bob, and I'll be running Lancer. I'm joined today by Todd, portraying Astro Jamin.
Howdy-ho.
Chuck, portraying Evelene Bolick.
Yeah, I got nothing.
Jeremy, portraying Dyne Starseeker.
Hello.
And Jay, portraying Steve Starling.
Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening.
Last time, we followed the DBC crew as they made their escape from 70.106. Unfortunately, their ship was waylaid by interceptors and reinforcements blocked their way. The fight took a toll on the pilots, while also awakening a great beast below the base. We pick back up with the pilots as they board the DBC. Time is of the essence. Welcome back, pilots.
Yay!
Hey, we're
Glad
back.
to be back, and with one less giant worm chasing us, and one
Yeah.
less mech, but
Yeah, that would help.
Yeah.
Less mech, but all of us are more or less alive, so that's good.
Yeah,
On
how's
trade,
Curry?
I think you came out ahead.
Yeah, that's right. What? Curry's in trouble.
I need to ask this question to you, Todd. How many missions have we had where your mech hasn't been destroyed?
I can't recall off the top of my head a mission where it has made it through. So good question.
Yeah, I can't quantify it, but I can tell you the very first mission it was destroyed, and this mission's destroyed. So I've satisfied my primacy and recency bias.
Yeah.
And the last mission it was destroyed.
Therefore, it's been destroyed every time.
Exactly.
You used it as a bomb in a mission one time.
Yeah.
I mean, this is his third iteration of AI.
I think I used it as a bomb, actually.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't know if I did that intentionally, but someone blew it up as we were making our escape, which is what we were gonna do this time. Remember, until we realized we could take it with us.
That you're
Yep.
like a few feet away from your ship and could just put it on the ship and fix it.
Yep.
Yeah, it's not like it got disintegrated. It's just broken down.
I mean, I'm still inside, so hopefully it didn't get disintegrated.
I would have destroyed it. I just didn't know how far we were from the ship and didn't want to leave, traces, those few as we can.
Yep. Makes sense.
Well, as soon as you're on the ship, you need to kind of rush into action. I assumed, now this is just me, and you can tell me if you deviate. I assumed that Dyne, having been messaged before, would rush straight to the medical room. Is that right?
I would, and as I'm doing that, I look at Astro and Chimera, and then I look at the mech and I go, "Fix that. We're not out of a hot water yet." I look at Todd's mech or Astro's mech.
Now, Astro, you're not sealed into the mech, so I imagine once you're docked, you can just get out of it.
Yeah, I'll get out once we're in.
As you land, you do get like follow-up messaging from Jessica on the bridge, stating, she kind of needs help piloting the ship. It is damaged, and the security net around the planet was tighter than she's expecting. So she, at the very least, needs the pilot back in his seat.
Yeah, for sure.
My other question then revolves more around what is Evelene and Astro doing? Do you go to the bridge? Do you try to help fix the DBC because Curry got injured before he could finish the repairs? Do you focus on the mechs? What are your two plans?
I think I'd like to first check the status of the ship because that's a higher priority for us to get out of here over Astro's mech. Sorry, Astro.
No, I agree. In fact, Astro would order you to do so. So it wasn't your idea, damn it.
Do I get a leadership die for that?
Does leadership die only apply in combat?
That's a great question. I think that's true, but
I think the wording might be
check.
ambiguous.
yeah. Let me check on that.
I mean, I was kidding, but I want to see how this plays out now.
All right, so Evelene, you launch into actions. You immediately, as you get down into the hangar, you find the panel by the hangar door that kind of you can log into and like start doing your diagnostics of the ship, run the diagnostic program, see where Curry left off, kind of thing. It is a dire report, Evelene. The ship has taken some heavy damage. The maneuverability is down. It's actually going to be difficult to even take off in atmosphere in this state. If you guys were in space, not a big deal. But the DBC is a spaceship. It can fly in atmosphere. It's more difficult. And injured as it is, it's going to actually be quite difficult to even take off. So you're probably going to want to get to work right away.
Yeah, I will prioritize that.
2 of the 5 main engines are down right now. So you're only at like 60% power.
Okay. Yeah, let me fix one of those first.
All right, so that is where Evelene heads. Astro, I'm going to give you a bunch of things as reminders of what's going on. So you can tell me where you think Astro needs to spend his time in this, like, 30 minutes, right?
Yeah.
Like, this is like, what are you doing this second?
Right.
Your mech fucked up. Not destroyed, like destroyed the status, but like is in front of you, is whole. Weapons are sheared off of it. The armor is like sliced into badly. The electronic systems need repaired. It won't function in battle until it's repaired, but that's going to take time. You also have 2 outsiders on the ship, i.e. Diltep and Seth Patera. That need dealt with. Also, the ship is going to be in a little bit of trouble trying to take off, and maybe could benefit from the captain being in the helm too. There's a bunch of different places you could be right now, and I want to see where Astro thinks he could best serve.
So Astro will point to Diltep and Seth.
So Diltep and Seth aren't in the hangar.
Okay.
They are up in the cockpit with Jessica. Because remember when Jessica called you guys? She's like, there are 2 weird people here.
That's right. That's right. Good. Actually, what I was going to say is I'm going to tell them to come to the cockpit with me so I can keep an eye on them. But they're already there. I think Astro, as much as he wants to fix his mech, it's more important that we get out of this immediate situation, and he's going to head up to the bridge to see if he can be of assistance.
All right. So now that we have kind of the missions that the 4 of you are going to start on immediately, let's start with Dyne. Dyne, as you head to the medical room, can you give the audience kind of a picture of what this looks like, what they would expect if they were walking into your office?
So on my office, there is just I would just imagine you would think like, I don't know, like almost like a family practice office. There's kind of like a desk in a corner with a computer. There is like a table that can be lifted up to be kind of like a laid-back chair almost, cabinets on the side which contain medical supplies, and then kind of like a room in the back that I can go back to if I need to, which also contains other supplies.
Mm-hmm. And as you walk in, Dyne, you note first, very obviously, the trail of blood that leads into your kind of practice room, your OR, ER, all R.
Yes.
And at the end of that trail is Curry. Curry is in a bad state. Apparent when you first see him is he is slumped and he is unconscious. He dragged himself in here. His back is against the wall and he is kind of like slumped down against it. You see the trail of blood lead to kind of the table, like the patient table, and then kind of fall off the side. Like he attempted to get there and couldn't didn't have the energy to climb up. You see your first aid materials ripped into. Like the first aid like pack is ripped off the wall and open on the ground with kind of bandages and stuff like open and spread across the floor. The first thing you see when you see Curry is, one, a giant patch of red on his side.
Yeah.
It does look like he bandaged himself. That is what he got out of the first aid materials. There is a very kind of cursory makeshift bandage kind of wrapped tightly over his left side. It does look proficient. It like Curry knew what he was doing to prevent himself from bleeding out, but he is not in a good way. But what also concerns you is that is not his only injury. It looks like maybe one of his arms is knocked out of socket. It hangs weirdly to one side of his body. And all across one side of his body are very bad burns. But they don't have like the blackening to them. They almost look like heat burns. Like there's like heat burns along one side of his body, but there's no evidence of like his like clothing being burned up, for example.
Okay.
What do you do?
Looking at the heat burns, I kind of like want to do a quick, more like a medical knowledge check to see if I can identify what might have caused that based on what's going on, in the ship.
And with that to start, we are going to start a medical skill challenge.
Oh, God.
Yeah. This
Good
first
luck.
roll here is going to be to identify the problems and what's going on here. So go ahead and this is going to be a pilot check, obviously. But you tell me what you think the thing you're rolling is.
So in this case, both patch and spot are appropriate because spot is, spot details objects that may be hidden or difficult to make out because I'm looking at, his wounds and whatnot. And patch is apply medical knowledge to medicate or diagnose. They both seem equally applicable and they both have a +2.
Okay. Yeah. What is more accurate to what you're trying to do here? Because they will give you slightly different pieces of information.
Probably patch.
Okay.
Honestly.
That you can apply rolling forward. Go ahead and make me a pilot check with patch.
7.
Okay. You take a cursory look at all of his wounds and are able to identify like what's the most troubling. It's not like you're, your medical knowledge isn't failing you here. It is more that you don't get the deeper information. You kind of see and take in the sum total of his knowledge with a 7, but you don't see the extra bit of information you could have pulled from this. But you do know what you need to do to get to work to try and help him.
Okay.
What is your next step here?
My next step is to try and move him to the table. And basically, I want to get his shirt off him so that I can see the full extent of the injury since I've done like a cursory glance.
Yeah, totally.
Do a more in-depth investigation because he's bleeding out, but I need to see the full extent of what I need to do, even in this situation.
Totally. What would you call this?
This would be an investigate after I've moved him to the table.
Yeah, you're going to spend some time really like taking your time with the subject here.
Yeah.
This is going to be a pilot check. No bonuses or malices to this roll.
19.
Okay, with a 19, you're able to like remove his like jumpsuit, like the outer parts of his jumpsuit, and pull back his jacket to kind of like see the side that's bandaged up. The information you get here is it is like you initially assumed. He does know what he's doing here. But it's not like he was able to self-suture. He still has an open wound in his side. He was able to patch it and apply pressure. It is like slowed the bleeding, but has not stopped it. Unless something is done, that's going to continue getting worse. The burns concern you because you're not sure exactly what caused them. Like I said, they don't read like fire burns. It doesn't look like he caught fire or something. But one side of his body has extensive damage to his dermis. You know just as a doctor generally, like this is going to be a lot of healing. He's going to have a long road to hoe for these wounds. But based on what you're seeing, it might look worse than it is. It looks like a lot of it is purely like outer skin. It doesn't look like, because you did a full investigate, it doesn't look like the burns got deep enough to like inhibit the skin growing layer of his skin. It is mostly epidermis. But yeah, he's going to be in a lot of pain if and when he wakes up. So the last thing you note is, it is his left side that is burned, but it is his right side where his arm has been pulled out of socket. It was probably incredibly painful. And you note, based on just timing and information, and because you're taking the time to investigate, it looks like he pushed himself to keep working after his side wound.
Okay.
It looks like he felt it was important to finish something before he got himself to this room, because it looks like he further injured his side and tore the wound open larger, trying to finish doing something before coming here.
Okay, so when I realize that, I'm going to put in a call down to CHIMERA, who I figure is like looking into the ship, and I'm going to relay that information to CHIMERA. I'm going to say, I don't know what he was working on, but he considered it important enough that he, opened his injury, made his injuries worse, to finish it. So you should look into that.
Yeah, I absolutely will. How's he? Is he going to make it?
I'm going to try as I cut the communications. So for my next step, he's unconscious, but I don't want him to wake up and make things even worse. So since I am in my office, I assume I have access to stims because, they're probably stored here, right?
They are stored here, yes.
So I would like to pull out Freeze and use it on him, which keeps Pilot calm and emotionally stable, deadens fear and other strong reactions, while I am trying to suture his wounds, that if he does become conscious, he won't, react too strongly in pain or overreact.
Okay. Yeah, he won't like panic as he wakes up. It kind of like smooths out his adrenaline. It kind of like will keep him calm. It's not like a full anesthetic or like a full like putting him under kind of thing. But yeah, the good idea. What are you going to do the further healing here?
I am going to suture closed the wounds that he did not get, and then that I consider the most dire, and then proceed down from there based on how well that goes.
All right. Your next pilot check will be with accuracy.
Okay. So I will go with patch because it's what I'm doing. So accurate. Oh my god, I rolled a 6.
Oh my goodness. So what happens here is you get in there and you start working, and it's nothing to do with your skill. It is a time thing. The wound is jagged. He obviously rent it open wider as he pushed himself beyond his own limits. And because it wasn't addressed immediately, you realize, I can't even immediately jump on the thing I wanted to do because actually I need to work on disinfecting some things now. Like he is in danger of sepsis.
Okay.
So you are going to have to like apply pressure, maybe pull out something quickly that you weren't expecting to need to like run him an IV or something, because he is in danger of blood infection at this point.
Right. So what I'm going to do is okay, so I'm basically going to start raiding the supplies to bring stuff in that I normally only bring on missions. So I'm going to bring out a corrective to just immediately try and patch the most grievous of wounds. It says expend a charge to apply to corrective to down and out pilots, immediately bring them back to consciousness at 1 HP. Whether he's conscious or not, I'll leave that up to you because he could just be 2 out. out of it, but he still is under the effect of freeze. But essentially, I'm just like, since the suture didn't go as well, and since his wounds are bad enough, this is just like a temporary but immediate fix to the problem.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. So what I'm going to give you for using a patch is I need a cost that this is going to take, because what I'm going to give you is basically an auto success for using the patch. So I think a worthy cost would be something like you have one less gear slot on the next outing you do, or something along those lines, because you've used a piece of equipment.
How about this? I don't have any, like, I did not use the corrective on the current mission. Let's just say that for the rest of this mission, I am now out of correctives if we happen to use it. Because I did not use it.
Yeah, that's what I would assume. So, like, if, for example, if you guys decide to, from here, infiltrate that space station you guys found out about, you will be going into that without a corrective. Even though you're on your ship and could rearm a little bit, you'll at least not have that.
Okay, so I will remove that and make a note that that is the one thing that I will not be able to restock if we happen to continue for this mission, unless I manage to restock my medical supplies.
Yeah. If you get some other bonus that lets you do that, obviously that would reverse it. But for now, we're going to show that as like used up more resources than you thought you would need.
Yeah.
So you realize this is an emergency. You can't be putzing around. You basically take out some sort of super like bonding, like almost like a synth skin kind of like disinfecting patch, you know what I mean? It's like simultaneously can like hold together wounds and is probably like is like soaked in sort of like a large spectrum antibiotic or something like that, so that as you apply it, it prevents like an infection spreading to the nearest bits of wound. As you get this on him, and as the stabilizer used on him all kind of like take effect in his body, you do see him like blearily start to regain consciousness as he like looks up. Dyne, you're back.
I'm back. You stay down. You're still very injured.
Oh, God. Yeah. You don't have to tell me, buddy. Ugh. He like shakes his eyes a little bit and seems a little drowsy, like he can't focus. And then he like reaches out and like grabs your arm. He's like, you have to warn Evelene.
What's going on? What do I need to warn her about?
I didn't see it until it was too late. And then he passes out again.
I look at him and I immediately try to ring Evelene.
All right, Evelene, where are you in the ship, you imagine, by the time Orion catches you a second time?
I was assuming working on one of the engines.
Okay. As you get to, let's say the lefternmost engine, you get in there and you're like, okay, this is all down, but this is the best one to restore if you want like balance for the flight.
Sure.
Because it's basically the lefternmost engines are both out, because that's where those interceptors, you saw the interceptors hit the ship as it was flying above you guys. So you get to you get in there to get to work to start figuring out what's even wrong, when the wall unit near you chirps to life, and it's Dyne trying to reach out to you.
Give me some good news, Dyne.
Do you like bad news?
No, but tell me them anyway.
Something that Curry awoke for a few seconds and gave a warning. Something he didn't notice. He was very vague because he passed out before he managed to tell me exactly what it was. But he said he didn't notice something, and then I'm going to assume an explosion happened. Be very, very careful. There's something wrong up there.
Hey, Bob.
Yeah.
As I've been running around the halls, you had mentioned previously that Curry had left a trail of blood. Have I seen any of this blood?
Great question. Hey, Evelene, let's pause you right there.
Sure.
We're going to come back to you in a moment.
Oh,
But keep that in mind. That's a great question to ask. Let's go to the cockpit. So we get up to the cockpit, and first to arrive is Steve. Steve, as you get up to the cockpit, Jessica is there in the operator's seat. She has like her piloting programs pulled up that help assist her when you're not around to like do basic maneuvering of the ship. But you can tell she's like trying to keep the ship together. And also in the room, Diltep is here, who has a gun to Seth, who is also here. Seth is up against the wall with his hands up. He's like, whoa. I tried to help. I told you I was just helping. Look, I helped. And then Diltep is like, yeah, whatever. And is still pointing the gun at him. He like looks over his shoulder to you when you walk in.
Head down the hallway. Just before you get to the loading bay, there's a door on the right. We've jury-rigged it as a makeshift brig, Diltep.
Perfect. Glad someone here thinks ahead. Thanks, bud. He like walks over to Seth, grabs him like heartily by the shoulder, like it looks like it hurts, and he like swings him around in front of him and jams the gun into like his lower back, and you see Seth go as like the gun is like pushing into his spine as Diltep kind of like pushes him out the door in front of him.
Yeah, okay, so I sit down at the pilot seat and start looking over the panels, and then just ask Jessica, is there anyone actively chasing us?
Well, no, because you guys shot them out of the air, so that's good. But the air defenses above this planet are way more responsive than we were led to believe. I'm starting to think the only reason that you all weren't intercepted when you came down is because you came down in drop pods.
Okay.
That means that as soon as we get into the atmosphere, I think they're going to scramble more things to come intercept us.
Well, it's a whole lot harder to leave a planet than it is to get into a planet. It's going to take us longer. There's no way we're getting out if we got this way coming down.
Well, that's not all. She like sends some things over to your screen, and the state of the DBC is bad. Like she's sending like diagnostics of the ship over to your screen. 2 of your 5 engines are down. They're both on the same side. So your left side has horrible maneuverability right now. You know that getting up out of an atmosphere is difficult with this kind of ship under the best of circumstances. And you might have enemies that you're going to have to deal with soon.
Okay. It is possible to get off with the amount of engines we have, or no?
It is possible.
Okay.
It will be like punching through molasses, but it is possible.
Okay. I'm immediately gonna radio holy crap. Chimera.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and be like, are we gonna blow up if I start the engines?
I don't know.
I flip the engines on.
Evelene, I imagine this is just before you get the second message from Dyne. So you're like running down the hallways to the engine as you hear him flip the engines on, and you hear the far side of the ship from you start up, but entire dead silence from in front of you, and like, that's not good.
I mean, that's what we kind of expected anyway, because
it is what you expected, but you didn't even hear them try to turn over. Like, the reactors don't even try to turn on.
I cut the power to that side of the engines on the ship.
Oh, you can do that? Perfect.
I assume, right?
Yeah, no, you have that kind of control, totally.
Yeah. And I'll just say, like, I cut that side's power down to Chimera as I start to limp us, just so we're not sitting still right here. Like, I'm gonna try to fly us away, look for like a ravine or something to hide in or whatever, just get us out.
Just get you off the ground. As you start to lift off, you have plenty of power to lift the ship. The ship is up, it's moving, but oh man, like this.
Yeah, I'm not trying to go Atmo or anything.
Yeah, it starts to feel like you're driving like a forklift instead of like a spaceship. As you start to lift off, Astro, you are running down the halls. You're only a few moments behind Steve. You get to the cockpit just as Diltep is pushing Seth out the door with a gun to his back. He's leaving the cockpit as you're arriving.
I'll just take a look at him and say, you know where you're going?
Oh, yeah, your pilot buddy told me there's a room with a door I can use,
Oh, yeah, the makeshift brig. Perfect. Come back to the bridge once you've secured him away, just in case we need another pair of hands.
You got it, boss.
And then I'll go inside.
All right. As you get in, you see Steve working at the controls of the DBC, trying to turn this into something that flies. As Jessica turns around and sees you come in, she's like, "Oh, Captain, let me give you all the info I have." As you get over to your seat, and she just starts sending report after report after report of like, here's everything that went wrong when we tried to come down to the planet. Here's where we got intercepted. Here's where all the damage is. Here's where everyone is on the ship right now. Here's the last message I got from Curry before I didn't hear from him anymore.
Okay, so I'm getting a
she's giving you like all her operational information that she's had from the past like 2 hours.
Previously on the DBC.
Yeah. We do a flashback episode where we just see what Curry and Jessica have been up to.
Okay. I take a look at all of that at my station. Does it also include the stuff that she was just telling Steve about, like it's with the like the defense network on the planet and everything?
Yeah, that is one of the first things that you see, because as they were called to come, get your exfiltration ready, they started descending down through the atmosphere and immediately were pinged by something. Something was watching for unauthorized vessels breaking an atmosphere. Luckily, like I said before, it becomes apparent from the perspective she has on what she has like written up here. It seems that because you guys were like a high or like a low orbit, high atmosphere kind of like pod drop, they couldn't, like, they might not have even detected you, but like an active like engines ship, like a ship like burning reactors and engines and stuff coming down through the atmosphere was enough to trigger something that they didn't notice until people were already scrambled to intercept them.
Okay. Okay. So could I does this mean like there's like more interceptors coming, or is there like a orbital cannon defense network set up? Like,
that's a great question, Todd.
Yeah. Okay.
And then, so all this to say, now that I have the three of you set up, we're going to do what I am going to tentatively call a ping pong skill challenge, where for every one check made on the bridge, we will need another check made from the person doing the repairs, as you guys try to get the DBC to safety and repaired to get off planet.
Nice.
So first thing I'm going to need is bridge crew, i.e. Astro and Steve. What is your first goal? What are you going to try and do with what you have available to try and get out of here?
I mean, my first goal is current safety. So I'm just looking to get us to a spot where we can figure out what we need to do to get out of here in the first place.
Yeah, and my goal's similar in that I want to figure out what it's the nature of the defense system we're dealing with. I was thinking maybe I could do something kind of computer hackery to try to trace the signal or whatever that detected us, and maybe get an idea of what was deployed in response.
Okay. So let's start with Steve then. Steve, you've named your goal. Get the DBC somewhere where it's not going to immediately get hunted down. The consequences of failure is going to be something catches up with you. Now, this is going to be a pilot check, and I'm going to impose difficulty because the ship is limping. What are you going to try and leverage here, and what is your plan of action?
Get somewhere quickly. That's what I'm leveraging as the skill.
Okay.
I am specifically looking for... So, to my knowledge, this planet blocks communications when you're underground, I think.
Yep.
So I'm looking for high ravine walls, something that would fit the DBC, Grand Canyon-esque kind of style. I don't know what this planet has around it.
So what I'll say is, you landed in a mountainous region. Very specifically, this is a city that was in a mountainous region. And in fact, the city itself was built in kind of like a large valley between two mountains. Let's say you're going to use your get somewhere quickly to find somewhere in that mountain range where you can maneuver the DBC, but stay a little bit out of sight.
Okay.
And try to get there quickly without complications, as Get Somewhere Quickly states.
Okay. Being a pilot at all, would that help give me any kind of an accuracy?
Not in this case, only because the ship you're dealing with is so damaged that being a pilot will make this more possible, but
fair.
not easy.
Fair. Let's see here. Then I will click the button, Get Somewhere Quickly. Is there difficulty?
Difficulty because of the engines, the state of the engines.
Hey, a 19.
All right.
Nice.
You rolled a 19, and then you have a +4, and then rolled a -4. So 19 it is. You're able to get the limping DBC up into the air. As you lift the DBC up into the air, everyone on the bridge who has kind of a view out front sees below the base that you just came from, 70.106. Being completely consumed by the planet. You see that the Lithosphere Leviathan might have been called off y'all, but it has gone back and is absolutely disintegrating the base that you were just in. I would say it is very unlikely any evidence of what was there is going to survive any of this. In fact, you start to wonder if that's maybe not what it was there for in the first place.
Interesting.
It is very efficient in completely erasing anything that was happening at that base.
Well, Todd, something tells me that guy you shot is not going to be okay.
Darn it, it's still going to be on my conscience.
As you watch an entire city block collapse below the ground as all of the structure is taken out beneath it.
Next mission, we're going to run into his wife and kids. They're like, oh, we had my husband, he looks just like this. He was such a hard worker.
Nope, never saw him.
Have you seen that Astro Jamin fights that giant lizard movie? Yeah, it's kind of like that.
So you're able to get the ship off the ground. You're able to move into some of the higher mountains of the mountain range and kind of keep them up on your sides so that things can't like get on your flank. But with how dense the coverage is and the alert that went out from this base to the adjacent bases, you know that you've bought yourself some time, but you definitely have not gotten yourself out of the frying pan yet.
Nice.
All right, Astro, you're trying to determine what kind of danger you're in.
Yes. So
what are you attempting to do that with? What's your way in?
All right, my way in is basically, we know we got detected by something when we came into the atmosphere, right?
Something pinged it. Yeah, something pinged the
us.
DBC.
So like basically I'm doing like a trace route on that ping. I'm trying to figure out where that ping came from and if there's any entry point I can use, any backdoor I could use to hack into their system or their network and find out more about what it's connected to.
So, Astro, the ship has not just taken damage to its engines. The electrical system is in disarray. What you can achieve from your seat is probably a little bit compromised, but you think that you can still get something working here. You have evidence of kind of like what Jessica used to notice that they've been noticed, and like the timeline that shows like when things were scrambled, like what kind of units they had when they scrambled them, like the normal operator information she would be collecting for you. You can definitely use that information and try and do that, but you don't have a direct into like a network or anything right now. You don't have like, you have evidence, you don't have an active thing to attack, unfortunately. So what are you going to do with what you have this moment?
Do I have enough to just diagnose or to figure out what we're dealing with? So I'm not going to try to disable any enemy systems or anything,
sure,
but I just want to figure out what
you're dealing with.
Yeah, what we're dealing with.
Okay, your name of your goal is what are we dealing with?
Yes.
The consequence of this is going to be you miss something important if you fail. Okay. Now, I'm going to impose difficulty because the systems you're working with are still damaged.
Sure.
Now, I'm going to ask you what you're leveraging in order to make the roll. This is going to be a normal difficulty pilot check plus difficulty.
I think, I actually don't know if hacker fix applies here.
It might not.
Because I'm not actually like trying to disable or sabotage a system.
Or even repair. Yeah, you're trying to do something else.
Yeah, more like I'm trying to...
do you have investigate?
I do.
That seems like what you're trying to do at this moment.
Is that investigate's usually like a time costly thing? Is that something I could use?
It is an in great detail thing. So like the other thing that I would usually contrast this against is there's a difference between spot and investigate. Yeah. Spot is notice something in an instant. It's more an instinctual thing. Like, that's the danger. Oh, that's the trap. That's the gun barrel, right? Investigate is more putting the pieces together, drawing a line from things to thing. I actually think you're doing an investigate with the information you have.
Yeah, I think so too. I think I do need to take the time, even in the midst of all the chaos. I need to carefully go through the evidence and figure out what's going on here. So
makes sense to me.
I will roll investigate with difficulty, right?
That's right.
Okay, one inaccurate. I rolled a 13.
Astro, what you get from this is you're able to piece together the bits of information that Jess has given you from the reports and from how the state of your systems are, and you note that there is kind of a passive network in the upper atmosphere of this planet that is very cleverly disguised as the thing that divides this planet into sectors. You know how every like, imagine the entire world is hexes and every hex is its own sector. They have that set up because they have things at like the corners of those hexes that like divide up the planet. And like, you know, from when they were talking about, you know, Project Rebirth, that was so that they could identify where they're, you know, the log line of that project was like, oh, we're going to find the places where we can make the biggest difference. We're going to find the places on the planet where we can get in there and make sure it's not too dangerous for our workers, and we can get down there and make a difference for the terraforming project.
Yeah.
The things that divide this planet up into sectors are fucking detector units that like have relay systems to send out messages and scramble ships in case anyone tries to land on the planet that isn't authorized. It is actually a world-spanning detection network.
Makes sense. So these are like satellites.
They are a network of satellites that each one of them is at a corner of every hex that this world is divided up into.
Okay.
That is what you are dealing with. That is the thing that is above. It is literally a net. That is the defense net that is above you.
Yeah. Okay. So it's like a sensor net. I'll kind of send some of that data over to Jessica's terminal.
Okay. I mean, she'll take it. She'll be like, okay, yeah, no, that makes sense. I mean, we didn't get close enough to any of those points. We don't have any evidence to say whether or not they have defenses of their own, but they seem to be a very fast relay network on advising enemy ships where they can get to us and how to head us off. Like, as long as this network is active, any ship faster than you will be able to intercept you.
Yes. I think I got to look into if there's a way to disable it, or at least disable the part we're going through.
Make a blind spot.
I'm not sure if there is, but I think also while we're trying to leave the planet, we should pick a spot that is farthest from any of these satellites. So like basically the middle of the hex.
Jessica will say to you, that'll also put us the farthest away from any satellite that we might be able to do something about.
That's true.
We only have a limited sensor range. If we're going to get close enough to shoot or hack or mess with anything in this network, we might need some physical proximity to it.
Yeah, actually, that's a really good point. That's probably what we do need to do. We might need to get close.
She'll run some numbers and just quickly say to you, I don't have enough time to run all the numbers, but we could definitely do what you suggested before, but we would need a masking something. If we were going to try and blow through the middle of one, it would have to be less about doing something to them and doing something to ourselves to make us, I don't know, undetectable or chaff or something to make us I don't know if we have access to something to do that.
I don't know either. You may be right. Maybe the better play is to get close to one, and I can see if I can hack into it, access it somehow. Maybe I can at least, if not disable the network, at least delay it somehow. Buy us a little time to get to safety.
And as you say,
if what I'm catching from what you guys are saying, you want me to fly a ship that can barely move next to a highly defensible information satellite that they have?
Yes.
Perhaps.
You better hope Chimera gets to work really quickly then.
Diddle-oo, diddle-oo, diddle-oo. As we go back over to Evelene. Evelene, you have just gotten to the far left engine. Dyne has just given you that warning, and you quickly think to yourself to look for blood. As you look across the station, you can see a trail of blood leading away from this engine down the hallways. It is not thickest here, but you can see where there is some scrap along the wall that looks like a fuse blew or something, and there are some exposed pipes and serrated electronic tracks like conduit that like electronics ran across that are like blown out away from the wall that you notice there's blood on the edge of.
The blood, does it seem to originate from here? Like there's not like a separate trail leading up to this and back?
No, it seems that maybe this conduit is what injured whoever got cut by it.
Curry. Okay. Can I identify like what the heck happened here?
That will be your first roll then?
I suppose so. Yeah. Unfortunately, I don't have anything for identifying or
yeah, because this would be more of a diagnostic thing. If you were going to jump in and just start doing stuff, it would definitely be riskier. If you try to identify and diagnose the problem, it'll probably give you a bonus on upcoming rolls at the cost of you would spend your roll on diagnosing the problem first.
I would prefer to do that, especially if Curry was warning about something. So I think that's just a straight D20. I don't have anything that would trigger on this, unfortunately.
All right. If you don't have anything that would trigger off of this, then yeah, this is going to be a straight up and down pilot check.
And reminder to future Chuck to invest in Spot, which is probably the second or third time I've said that. Here we go. 18. That's good.
Not bad.
Chimera, with an 18, you're able to see that as it looks like you are able to find the part of this engine that is badly wounded. That is, I just had this conversation with my wife earlier today. What do you call a wound that a non-organic thing takes? Like if I was to be like, oh, like you don't call it, oh, it's a big damage in the side of the ship. What's the word for that? You know, what do you call a wound on like a ship?
A
Damage?
rend.
Rend?
Yeah,
maybe?
see, like, is there not a good word for it? Am I just driving myself in crazy trying to find a word that doesn't exist?
I don't think I understand what you're asking exactly.
Like, if I was to say there's a giant wound in the side of the reactor, right? You wouldn't say there's a big damage in the side of the reactor. That's not like grammatically appropriate. And wound sounds too organic. Like, what's the word you would use for something mechanical and not organic? Like, if someone has a big gash in the side of them, it's like, oh, that's a big dangerous wound. What would we say if it's in the side of like a reactor?
There's a hole. There's a hole in the reactor.
Actually, gash is not bad.
Gash
Yeah,
is
I know, but
good.
that's more descriptive of if you already know what the thing is. Because I was like, what do I say if... Yeah, like what do
I like breach.
Like if Curry was trying to warn Evelene, is like, watch out for the big structural inefficiency. You know what I mean? Like, what's the word?
I think it depends on the context of the sentence, really. But like, because like took damage, is damaged are like big ones.
I want to come up with the word that means wound, but for something inorganic.
A lot of damage.
Yeah.
I don't know. I posted
That's
a couple of options.
Holy hole.
Yeah, like those are all
maybe?
Those are all good words, Jeremy. Gash, breach, crack, and dent, but none of them occupy the part of the sentence that I want to use.
Rupture?
You know what I mean?
They're more specific than
rupture. They're more specific. I am looking for a more general term. Yeah.
I'm not sure if there is like a word
so.
like that, like wound for ships, you know?
Watch out for the dangerous wound in the reactor, you know?
I mean, okay, I found literally this article is called Top 10 Common Hull Damages.
So a hole. There's a hole.
There's corrugation, but that's not what you're looking for.
But what if it's not a rupture? What if it's just
Yeah.
You know, like what if it's a crease in the wires? But he doesn't know it's a crease. He just knows it's damaged. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. You're looking for
anyway.
a very general
Yeah.
word.
And I don't want to get
something-
into the Microsoft thing. It's like, oh, you don't have a virus. Your computer has a cold, right? I don't like that. That's stupid.
Yeah.
Corrugation, there's
So-
corrosion, there's buckling, and then there's bulges.
So, Pop, tell me about
Yeah.
this cold in the engine.
Yeah, so as you diagnose the flu that your reactor has, all right, so you rolled pretty well. So as you look, you are able to see the, let me look at this breach that is in the side of the reactor that Curry was in the middle of working on before an explosion happened in here. It looks like that this conduit around this reactor breach happened as he was in the middle of repairing something, and you imagine this is when the ship got shot because you couldn't take down the interceptors in time before the interceptors did more damage to the DBC. Curry was in the middle of repairing this, and the conduit blew up on him and probably cut him real bad somewhere. Based on the amount of blood on the ground, you're not a doctor, but that looks serious. You can tell that Curry pushed himself to finish the patch. And now that you've done that check, it's a good thing he did, because this engine would have exploded had he not pushed himself to finish before he left.
Okay.
But you are able to find what Curry was working on. So you're going to have advantage you're going to have accuracy on your roll to fix what Curry started.
Great. Yeah, I'd like to...
When we come back to you, that was your one roll. Now we go back to the cockpit.
Wait until my turn.
Back to the cockpit. As you guys get to safety and kind of figure out what your game plan is going to be, what's your next move? You have not heard from Evelene for a little while. You imagine she's down in the bows of the ship working on something.
I mean, I don't know that I have anything at the moment. I'm just trying to wait until we can get going.
Well, what I will say is you're going to have to do something, because Jess says, oh, well, long-range sensors are picking up things converging on our area. I don't think we can stay here for too much longer.
Quick question. So when I was using the computer before, you said there's like electrical issues that limited me.
Yeah.
Do I know if that's something I can fix, or do I know what needs to be done to fix that, or do I just know it's a problem at this point?
You can always do something about something.
Sure.
It's where you want to put your efforts. You're not as Grace Monkey as either Evelene or Curry are, but you have an in-depth understanding of computer systems, electronics, even wiring. You know that your training included a lot of that. You would not have been allowed to call yourself done if you did not know how that wiring went through your own ship.
Right.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
would not. Yeah, you have an understanding of how it works, at least on your own ship.
Okay. So Astro will say after Jessica's like, we have things converging on us. Astro will say, okay, let's head towards one of those sensor satellites. This is what we're going to do. I'm going to try to hack into it and disable or delay their warning system to give us enough time to slip out and get out of here.
You're gonna DDoS them.
Yeah, basically. That's actually probably exactly what I want to do. But I have to fix our electrical systems first, so I can access their network. So I'm gonna go do that. I assume that I probably have to leave the bridge and like get under like a panel or something and try to rewire stuff.
Yep. If your stated goal is going to be fix some of the electronics, or at least reroute them effectively enough that they will not interfere with what you're trying to do, you are going to have to move to another part of the ship. So I'm going to ask you: do you want to focus more on the proficiency of doing that, or the getting to the place you want? Because that will change what the difficulty of this role is.
Understood. I want to focus more on the proficiency of doing that.
Okay. So it's not like you're racing against the clock to get there to the right place at the right time. It's more like I'm going to get there, and then once I'm there, the difficulty is more going to be about me figuring out the thing to do most efficiently.
Yeah. That said, I'm not trying to fix everything. I'm just trying to get it working to the point where I feel more confident I can like do some like DDoS attack or virus attack or something through their network.
Yeah. So especially because it is like a limited thing, what I will say is the cost then of that is I'm not going to impose difficulty on this check or even impose a time waste on this check, but I am going to impose a effect limit on this check. You will be able to get that part of the system working effectively, but not the system in general working effectively.
Okay. That sounds good to me.
All right. So what are you leveraging to do the role?
Now, this is a hacker fix.
That sounds right to me.
Repairing a device or faulty system.
As he pulls out an axe.
Yeah.
Hey, that's my axe.
I take hack literally. All right.
Fix is a little metaphorical.
Now, why does my hacker fix say +2? Because it's not +2. It's +4. Let me fix that. It's really weird. I almost wonder, is it +6? No. I don't think I got to +6 yet. Hacker fix, yeah. +4. All right, here we go. Let's roll it. 21.
Hey,
Very nice.
there you go. Comet, you're able to dash out of the cockpit. You make your way down the halls of the DBC. You know that the thing you need is going to be about extending your the sensor range. It's going to be about extending your sensor range, and it's going to be about breaching like hardened electronics. So you focus on specifically getting to your ECM suite, getting that up to date. You note that fixing this is not going to help the operation of the ship or the piloting or any of those systems anyway, but you know that it's going to help you do this. So you are able to like breach the wall, get in, you see what the problem is. You know you actually can't fix the problem, but you can reroute the problem. There are some damaged areas. It will kind of be like, okay, this stuff I can fix later when I have time. This other stuff needs to work instead of, you know, the fucking fridge being powered. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you might go to the commissary later and be like, why is all our food expiring? But like, that's a problem for another time.
Yeah.
My cabbages.
Your tuna.
Tuna doesn't need refrigerating. It's in the can.
Yeah, he has all shelves. She has all shelf stable tuna.
Some reason all the tuna packages have been opened.
They're all right in front of
awry.
They're all right in front of a fan for some reason too. But yeah, you get that up and running. That is successful, Astro. You note that this has taken you some time. You're out here for like minutes. You're sweating as you feel the DBC moving around. You don't get any reports while you're doing this. You're just kind of like there at the panel, you know, getting in there, getting up to your arm in the wall to try and move things around. But you think that you've done what you need to.
Okay, great.
All right. Now, for Steve. Are you going to do anything in preparation for incomings?
I have to assume that Astro is going to do what he needs to do. So I asked Jessica, can you find me some way around the incoming bogies to get to that satellite, or the closest thing to around them?
She looks at like the tack, the like tack map she has in front of her, and she goes, up, I guess. They are going to know our movements, but maybe they have a distance to close, but while we're moving this slow, it's going to be tough. You're going to have to push the engines for all they're worth with what's left.
Well,
she draws you a line on your little navigation screen in front of you for like the closest accessible satellite, and she draws for you where the incomings are coming from.
Why did we never install weapons on this thing?
Well, you have a weapon now, don't you? You guys installed
We did.
Like,
Yeah.
oh, you have like two weapons. You have like a turret on the top side and belly of the ship that can be manned.
Well, we'll see if that comes up, I guess. I mean, I would start heading towards the satellite that he needs to get close to, if I can.
You're going to be pushing the ship for all she's worth in order to get there and try to stay up as you're pushing up through the atmosphere. Every once in a while, there's balance issues where the ship wants to list, where the ship wants to straighten out because it is considering itself in like an emergency mode. What are you going to do? What tactic or way forward is KESTRAL going to use here to keep the ship dancing to his commands as best they can?
Stay cool.
Okay, absolutely. That makes sense to me. You're already a pilot, and you have the piloting down, but keeping the ship in these dire circumstances is definitely a stay cool.
All right,
This is still going to be with difficulty because Evelene has not yet repaired anything.
All right. Whew, -3.
With a -3.
Damn.
Yeah, you're rolling a 1 on that D20, not great. The ship limps. As you push extra power through the remaining 3 engines, you realize you're starting to redline them. You have to ease off of them to make sure you don't break more of them. As you do, you catch that enemies are readily catching up to you.
I'll just scream at Evelene, what's going on? I need these engines.
Evelene, you hear this coming from like the Vox box behind you as you're like trying to figure out where the damage is.
I look for the volume control and just turn it all the way to 1.
In the middle of him yelling at you as it gets quieter towards the end of his sentence.
Like, oh, all right. Carry
All
on.
right. Speaking of, we're going to bounce back to the engines. Evelene, as you are working on the engine, what are you doing now that you've identified the problem?
Well, I would say that I should fix the engine. No, so I know that Curry did a patch job, which I assume was meant to just prevent the engine from blowing up and killing
That
everyone.
is correct. Yep.
So I think I'm trying to resume that work. So probably figure out, now that I know what the engine is in risk of doing, which is exploding, I'm going to try to get it in operational shape. So whatever... I know what to look out for, so I'm like, oh yeah, I should not put all the power in this place where it's going to blow up, but maybe try to patch up what I can in the minimum time I have, and then get operational. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Evelene, there is a risk to this check. You're not sure why. This is a dangerous check. but I'm giving you double accuracy on this check for the 2 pieces of info that Dyne was able to get for you.
Okay. I would like to remind everyone that I am at 4 health from my endeavor with Zippo.
That's rough, buddy.
Yeah, so I am going to use my best roll. So that plus double accuracy might be to my benefit, but it does mean that...
Let's hope.
Let's see.
Well, it's not to your detriment.
This is true. So I feel like this is hacker fix. You can't convince me otherwise.
Hacker fix sounds good to me.
Okay.
Dangerous check with 2 accuracy.
So if my memory serves me correct, I click the button and it allows me to specify the accuracy.
Should.
Yeah, here we go. And that's 1 accuracy, 2 accuracy. Wait, no. It's the accuracy button, or is it the other sources?
So you have accuracy, and then you have accuracy from another source. As long as it says you're getting 2 accuracy, it should do the roll correctly.
I want to make sure I do this roll right.
Totally.
All right, here goes. 14.
Hey,
All right.
guess what?
Hit me with your best shot.
So you rolled a 2. So it would have been a fail without the extra information you got, because on one of your 2 accuracies you did get a 6.
Right. Yeah.
So thank
look at the
goodness for
breakdown.
the accuracy. But Evelene, Curry was right, because you also don't notice until it's too late. You're able to open back up his work that he was in the middle of working on. And you're able to figure out, oh, okay, I see where the problem is. I see where the reactor's down. Okay, Curry did most of the work. It's most of the way there. I can just, get this patched up, reinforce this. Okay, good. We're good to go. I need to get this engine on now because, you know that fucking Steve is up there yelling about how there's incoming and this engine needs to be on. You slap the startup engine button. The reactor turns on. And for you, like Curry, miss that there was another problem. As you start over the engine, from a place under where you're working, deep buried in some rubble in the side of the engine where things were kind of like shoved with conduit blowing up and, pieces of wire covering things up, there is a fissure in the cooling system for the reactor. As you start up the reactor, all of a sudden, a giant blast of superheated steam takes you, covers you the entire side of your body. Evelene, you're going to take 4 pilot damage.
I'm out.
As Evelene, I guess, collapses unconscious in the engine.
I
am unconscious.
Does this rock the ship or anything?
You all feel the engine come on. You guys have 5 engines, and we're working with only 3. Steve, hey, you get another engine back. Well, Evelene did her job. She got one of the engines up and running, and it's the one furthest on the wing. You get some of your maneuverability back. You get some power, and you get some maneuverability immediately. Your job gets way easier. But no, the superheated steam, which now, obviously, this is why the entire side of Curry's body has burns all over it, but does not appear like his clothing caught flame.
Okay. A request. Since a couple of turns have passed, may Dyne do something that I think he would do?
Absolutely.
Dyne would be worried about Evelene. Like, he knows Evelene is injured. He sees Curry's wounds. He would literally grab a patch and be dashing towards the engine room, thinking that is the only thing that he would be able to help with at this point, as long as Curry is stable.
Curry is stable. The corrective you used has stabilized him.
Yeah.
So he's like I said, he's gonna have a road to recovery, so to speak. But yeah, you don't have to worry about him dying while you're gone.
So not knowing entirely where to go, I would probably do what Evelene did and follow the trail of blood, and hopefully that would lead me to Evelene.
Also, there's an explosion. That'll help.
Well,
Yes.
That's the thing. It wasn't an explosion. It was
a steam vent.
Yeah, it's like imagine a pipe that has a fissure along the side of it. As you started up the engine, just a huge, like a force of superheated steam sprayed over you. Evelene, it is searingly hot. I don't know if you've ever gotten bad steam burns before, but it is incredibly painful. And how wounded you are already like dragging yourself to work.
Yep.
And as you get blasted, it's just the last of what was keeping you on your feet. You simultaneously feel like I did my job and also ow before you fall back.
Am I bleeding?
All right. You're not bleeding.
That's good.
No.
That's good.
No, but you are very hurt. And these burns, the sooner they're treated, the better. Let's go back to the cockpit. Our pilot, you've just got your engine back, and our captain, you just got your electronics back.
Okay. Yeah, so Astro, once he fixes that, he's gonna head back to the bridge and strap himself in at his terminal again.
You sit back down, you see everything displayed in front of you. Your ECM systems are back up and functional again. Yeah, you get the readout of what's been happening. You see the incoming bogeys that Jessica has alerted Steve to.
Okay. I'll say to Steve, you think we can outrun them?
Not a chance.
Okay. Maybe I can do some electronic warfare on them.
I can try to buy you time, but that's about it. We have...
This would be buying you time.
Shifty eyes.
I don't want to go out of my way to mess with them, but if we can't outrun them, we need to delay them somehow.
Drop satellite on them.
Look, if you can buy us enough time to get out into orbit, then...
Here's another thing. Here's another angle. Does Astro think, given the capabilities we have, that he can sort of shield us from radar or something? Like,
you have one room on the ship that can do that, but not the whole ship.
Okay.
Remember the room you guys spent a lot of time on to basically make a non-detectable room?
Yeah.
You have that. You eventually finish that project.
That's right.
Unfortunately, you would have to make a stealth ship to make that apply to the whole ship. You can do things to fuck with people detecting you, but to be as locked down as that room would be incredibly hard to do to the whole DBC.
Think more what I want to do is fuck with incoming ships with detecting us. Like maybe feed them some bad data, I don't know, send them false pings and stuff, just so
that's
it's
in your wheelhouse.
Yeah. Like they're still gonna probably have our location, right? But they won't know which one is accurate, or it's gonna hopefully confuse them. And I'm actually thinking maybe would this fall under act unseen or unheard? Or is this more, I'm doing something so we can act unseen or unheard?
I think if you roll an act unseen or unheard as the goal of your role, then what I will say the benefit you would get from succeeding on it would be a delay as the ships can't figure out what signal to follow.
Right. Yeah.
If you decide to use another trigger, I will determine a different benefit. Either case, the result of failing the roll will be the ships are on you and start to attack. But that won't take place until I've seen both of your rolls, because both of you have a chance of doing something about this.
Okay. Well, that's exactly what I want to try to do, is act unseen or unheard. And I really, really hope this works.
Hold on. Before you roll, I want to give you both the option, because you're both going towards the same goal. If one of you, i.e., like if Astro does this and succeeds, he will on his own have stopped them arriving this turn. And then, Steve, you could use your roll to make more progress on another axis. Or you can both combine your roles and have one of you assist the other of you if you really want to focus on accomplishing one thing well.
What do you think, Steve?
I just want to give you guys the option, because you're literally in the same room working with each other here.
Yeah. So I'll tell Steve what I'm trying to do.
I don't know, to be honest. My initial plan was to just try to fight them off if you failed and we were put in that kind of situation. But I guess I don't know how I would really help you.
I could give some suggestions if you're interested.
Sure.
The only things I can think of is, like, COMET is going to be throwing out odd signals to try and throw them off. You just got some of your maneuverability back. If you were to start taking some odd or evasive maneuvers to line up with also the odd signals COMET is throwing out there, it might make it more hard to tell, oh, your ship is the correct signal, right? Because, like, if your ship is still just going straight ahead in a single line without moving, they might intuit as like, oh, these others are just distractions. We're going to go after the one that's just trying to break orbit. But if your ship looks like it's making maneuvers as well as the other ones, your maneuvers could also help sell the distraction.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I'll do that.
Okay, so COMET, since the two of you are working together to kind of evade the incoming, because they don't have eyes on you guys, they don't have visual confirmation of you, they're only detecting you via the satellite network. COMET, you can try and scramble this by giving them a bunch of phantom pings and trying to line them up with your pilot. So go ahead and make this pilot roll plus accuracy.
Alrighty. Plus accuracy. I rolled a 14.
A 14. With a 14, you all have successfully delayed the incoming ships. You can see them start to break into smaller units as they start to hunt down and check on different signals in the distance. Jessica goes, oh, yeah. Like she does the little like fist pump thing and she sees like a couple of them break off. That got most of them, but we still have one or two that's coming up on us that they're going to be here soon. How close is that satellite, Astro? And Astro, you having that information pulled up, can see, like, with the power from the restored engine, you're making progress on it. In the next, like I don't know how to express this in game, but in a minute or two, in the next like 2 rolls, you'll be within range of the satellite.
Okay. I'll just be like, we're coming up on it. Shouldn't be too much longer now if we could just hold out a little bit.
All right. As you two successfully pull that off in the cockpit, you are able to buy yourself another round without having people actively attacking the ship. Back in the engine room, Dyne, you get to the engine and find the trail of blood that you expected. And also find not a completely passed out, but a bleary Evelene, who's just been knocked on her ass. You see steam like pouring out of the wall in one area, kind of collecting at the ceiling, like a little fog bank collecting at the ceiling. And Evelene kind of collapsed to one side of the room.
I look at the steam and I go, oh, so that's what caused the burns. Not now. As I run over to Evelene. So I know I broke open like a stim pack to help with curry, and I assume I brought the rest of like the other two because it's a pack of 3, right?
That makes sense.
And a patch. So I throw the patch on Evelene to try and patch her up to. It technically the patch isn't supposed to bring you conscious, but I use one of the stims, which is kick, which keeps you awake and alert for 30 hours to kind of simulate a corrective.
Sure. And I'm just going to say that makes you able to get her back up on her feet with a successful patch roll. So if you make a patch roll, that would be what that does.
I've just injected so much caffeine into Evelene's body that she'll be running circles. All right. So patch roll, no accuracy, no difficulty. I rolled a 15.
Yay.
15. Evelene, you were like bleary on the ground. You feel a little like dazed, like you have a vague sense in the back of your mind of like, okay, I did something, but I need to stand up, but I feel real woozy. And the shadow of Dyne comes over you and you feel him start to minister to you. And all of a sudden, lucidity streams through your body, burns through your veins and up through your mind, as all of a sudden, like in a snap, you are brought back to like full awareness, and it hurts.
Ow.
When you wake back up, you are lucid, you know what has happened, you are able to piece together the last few minutes, but you hurt.
I look at her and I go, I know it's going to hurt. I don't really have an option at this point. We need you awake and dealing with the problems until we get off.
Yeah. You got another one of those?
I'm not sure you want to take another one of those.
Fair enough. And I'll start limping over to the other engine.
Anything I can help with.
Let's see where it's at first, and then I can tell you.
All right. That is going to be your role for this scene, but I'm still going to let Evelene go. Evelene, as Dyne kind of helps you over to the next engine, kind of like, steps along with you, keeps another eye out. Dyne to be an observant person. You get to the remaining failed engine, and this engine, while also inactive in the same way as the other engine, doesn't have the like line of blood coming out of it or anything, but looks like a jungle because all the wire, like something in the ceiling has broken, and all the wires in the ceiling have like fallen down out of the ceiling and almost hang like vines hanging from trees. And all of them seem to still have electricity flowing through them. Even though Steve has shut off the power to these segments, it looks like the reactor never fully shut down. So coming from the reactor into these wires is live current. It will be difficult to get to the place where you could reroute it. It's more about the difficulty of getting to the damage than repairing it here.
Real quick, do I have any health? Am I still at 0?
How much does a patch give you, Orion?
Half health.
Oh,
you're back to half health. You
Hot
just
dog.
feel like you've been thrown in a rock roller.
Okay. So,
Technically, you have more health than you did before.
I do. I know.
But
that crossed my mind.
But your skin is screaming at you.
Technically, you have more adrenaline than you did before.
More accurate.
This is true. So, my first impression is that I should try to clear away the wires. Now, I realize you said that they just kind of fell on top.
It is like, imagine if there were grates holding up the ceiling and there was a bunch of like wires going through the ceiling. Imagine if that engine took damage in the ceiling and that grate fell out and all those wires snapped. So now it's like a jungle of live wires like hanging in the way.
Okay, and there's no way to disable those wires without getting past the wires.
Well, if you come up with something clever, maybe there is, but right now, you know where you could do that effectively from is on the other side, because it's coming from the reactor.
Hypothetically, if I were to, and I'm not saying I'm going to do this, but hypothetically, if I were to just push through, I could do that, right?
You might get electrocuted to death.
Oh, I would get electrocuted to death. I imagine Steve is too busy to help right now, correct?
Right about now, you probably get, one engine's great, but can we get more?
Yeah, coming through this non-muted Vox comm in the wall.
How
The
wide
most
are
engines you can manage, that would be just dandy.
How wide are our hallways? Like, could a mech size 1 fit through one?
In your ship? Not
Yes.
really.
Okay,
No,
well,
you would need at least a half-size mech, if not smaller. Like a hard suit would have difficulty getting through. Like you and Dyne could walk shoulder to shoulder with each other, but that's about it.
Okay. Well, my first plan was literally to take Steve's mech and use it to move the wires, but that seems like a bad idea. What I'd like to do instead is, I know that my grapple gun is broken, or actually I think we left it. It got damaged. That's right. It got damaged. Yeah. I assume, and this is up to your call, Bob, I have backups around, or at least prototypes.
I would say it is reasonable to assume that the one you took on your mission was not the only one you have.
Okay. I'd like to grab a prototype or a spare, which I'm fully expect will break as a part of this action, to pull away the grate and the wiring and stuff in the way.
Okay, so the way I could see this working is if you shoot the grapple through, you will have like an anchor on the other side, and you can kind of use the line between you and with a grapple point as kind of like a like line that you can sweep away the wires with. You know what I mean?
That'd be fine.
Like,
yeah.
Yeah, you get the rope going through, and then you can kind of push that to one side, almost like you're stapling all the wires to one side of the room.
Yeah, that'd be perfect. Yeah.
Yeah, this is just going to be a shot that if it goes wrong, you might brush the wires with the grapple gun, and the current will go through the line and into you.
Well, it's a good thing I have a medical professional with me.
So that is the danger. The danger here is you still could get electrocuted.
Is it a dangerous
Try
roll?
this at home.
It is a dangerous roll, but you don't have difficulty on it.
Good. Okay.
It is a normal roll.
I'm going to propose that this is a creative solution to a difficult problem.
This is creative engineering, 100%.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, I will roll it. I can't remember. Did you say difficulty?
This is no difficulty, just dangerous.
Okay, cool. Let's. I will look to Dyne as I do this, and I'm like, please don't let me die.
I only promise to try.
Yeah, here we go. 20!
Holy shit!
A 20 is exactly what you need to not suffer consequences.
Hooray!
As you shoot your grapple through the mess of wires, and Dyne, for a second, you watch, because Evelene didn't say what she was going to do before she does it. She just gets out a grapple gun and shoots the other wall. And as you see it weave, like push past all these live wires and connect to the other side, and then Evelene just pushes with her grapple gun against the wall and like throws it over a loop. She just made like an opening in the live wires for herself. And you think to yourself, if any of those wires got touched, I would have been standing next to an electrified person. She could have electrified me with that.
Yeah, I would have been like, well, okay, so half of her body has steam burns, the other half of her body has electrical burns. There's a mismatch.
Well, at the very least, you could end up with those cool scars. What are those called? The electricity scars?
Yeah, actually, that'd be pretty badass. I mean, not that I want that, but, you know.
But it would look cool on Evelene. But yeah, you are able to open the way for yourself to get to the reactor. Like that is going to be
Lichtenberg
figures, something like that. Yeah,
that's
sounds
it.
right.
Yep. So Chimera, you can access the engine next roll back to the cockpit.
Cool.
So you've been able to peel off over half of the incoming ships, but two of them, two interceptor style ships, have taken position behind. They are within like 30 seconds of getting visual contact, and you worry weapons range of you. What do the two of you do?
Well, unless Astro has something creative, I'm going to load up the guns.
The way I'm going to roll the guns on the ship,
I need to.
The way I'm going to roll the guns on the ship is they can be controlled from the pilot's seat, but doing so will be with difficulty because they're a remote system and aren't incredibly accurate while being piloted from the pilot's seat. If you send a person to man one of those turrets, it will be a fully effective weapon.
Okay. So we can either shoot them off, or if you've got something else.
Yeah, I think
without pushing the ship, I don't know.
Yeah, if you want to send that to me, I can try to hold them off with the guns.
All right, so Astro, even from the captain's seat, shooting them from the cockpit will not be as effective as being at the turret doing it.
Oh, is the turret in like another room?
There is a turret on, it's kind of like the turrets in the Millennium Falcon. There's a turret on the top of the ship, and there's a turret on the belly of the ship. And if you actually get in that turret, you have the full effect of the turret, but you're controlling them remotely from the cockpit. They're still effective, but they are harder to aim this way because there's the tiniest bit of lag. What's that?
What the hell is an aluminum falcon?
All right, I will. I'll go to the turret.
Okay,
place.
So you're gonna leave behind the cockpit that has your electronics systems to go to an actual turret.
Yes.
Okay. So it takes a little bit of time for you to get back there, but you're able to jump down into the turret. Do you go to the belly or the roof turret?
Good question.
Because you're probably going to want to let Steve know so he can make sure that your side of the ship has an angle on the approach.
Hold on. Diltep's there. Can we take both turrets?
On your way out of the cockpit, you see Diltep has been at gunpoint chatting with Seth, like through the door. He sees you come back and he's like, "Hey, boss, just trying to get something out of the prisoner."
Okay, good. Well, that's going to have to wait, so hold that thought. I need you on the rooftop turret, fighting off bogies. I'm going down to the below.
Oh,
turret.
shit. Yeah, okay. How do I get there?
Can I give him directions? Or?
Yeah, it's your ship.
No, you
have
no idea. you're unsure.
It's more like, is it easy to explain, or should I just show him where to go?
You like point down a hall and you're like, make a right, climb the ladder. You'll see it. You know what I mean?
Look for the giant sign that says turret.
You lean in closely to Diltep and go, "Look, I've been trying not to tell anyone else. I have no idea. I'm not quite sure."
I don't know what
Every
I'm doing,
morning when I try to get to the
scared.
cafeteria, I make like 3 wrong turns. But yeah, I imagine you send him to the roof because it's like you send him to the roof because it's like the closest one, and you know how to get to the one that's slightly further away. So you like dash off in the direction of the other one. Diltep like nods. He like hits the little wall panel to like slam shut the door that has Seth in it. Holsters his pistol, and you see him dash off in the other direction. When you tell him there's danger, he responds instantly. Because you have both of you rolling on this, I was going to make Steve have to make a check to make sure that your side of the ship was lined up with the enemies, but now that you have both turrets manned, it won't take that for you to get an accurate shot. So since both turrets are manned, this is going to be a straight pilot check.
I would still like to roll assault, since I am part of the assault, to try to give them an accuracy.
Yeah. I will let you roll that skill trigger as assault to maneuver in combat maneuvers to help line up the shots for them.
Yep, that's the plan.
All right, so let's roll yours first then.
That's a 5.
Okay. That was a good attempt at the assist, but you don't think you've added enough to give them accuracy on the rolls.
I don't got a lot of engines.
You don't, to be fair. But for Astro and Diltep, Astro, you're going to be kind of helming this roll. Because both turrets are manned, you won't have difficulty on the roll. But it will be a dangerous roll because they're going to be within weapons range of you in 15 seconds.
Okay.
What do you want to do, Astro?
Take control. Use force, violence, presence of will, or direct action to take control of something.
I would posit that is not exactly what you're doing here.
Okay. Could I let me just throw this at you and see what you think.
I'm ready.
Could I say that I am using like suppressing fire to give us to give us the ability to get away, get out of danger, and hold these guys back? So I'm arguably taking control of the situation. I'm not trying to necessarily engage in direct combat and kill them all, but more like trying to control our ascent as we're trying to leave the planet.
Yep, because exactly that changes the framing of what you're doing, and that does sound like take control because you're trying to take control of area. You're doing area control, right?
Exactly.
So absolutely.
Yeah. It's all about like suppressing fire. It's like I see them like flying off in a direction and I'm like, I don't want them going there. So I'm like, I shoot them, not necessarily looking to hit them. I mean, of course I want to hit them, but it's more like I'm trying to control like where they're flying and stuff.
Makes sense to me.
All right. Is that any inaccuracy or danger or anything?
It's a straight up and down roll.
All right. Unfortunately I rolled a 3.
A 3, you say?
Not
you guys need to start rolling these ones on a 20.
Can I ask you a quick question?
Absolutely.
We have been on this planet 4-5 hours maybe now?
Yep.
Okay.
Maybe a little bit longer. Maybe like 6.
Maybe about 6. Okay, that's what I was wondering. That would be about the amount of time I would think it would take for maybe a rebel force to be attacking it about the same time-ish, you think?
So, we can so I am always open for us doing like pull in things that were planned in advance that we haven't actively said and things like that. I'm totally cool with doing that. I want to put on the table that is a chip you can absolutely call in. I'm going to say for sure.
Okay.
But if you want to use that chip here, you won't have it for after. So where you spend that chip, I'm cool with giving it to you. I just want to make you aware that it's a spendable chip. Like, what if you use it here, you won't have it for like the next thing you do, for example.
Sure. Then we can wait for a second. I was just musing.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I would be on board for it if that's what you want to do. We would basically do the scene where it's like, actually, I think I have us covered, as you see like the reinforcements coming over the horizon kind of stuff. Like, always ready for a Gandalf to come in from the east, right? But like...
Well, I don't think we're there quite yet.
Okay, totally. So, you COMET, Mr. Astro, you and Diltap get in your sheets. You start firing off on the ships following you. They are so fast. They are not big cargo freighters. They are meant to fly in atmosphere, actually. They are made for flying on planets. Your ship is not. It is a spaceship. They are interceptors meant to hunt down ships. Yours is not. You're meant to haul cargo. As you shoot these turrets that, are aftermarket turrets, you feel like you're putting up a good fight, but they are flying circles around your incoming fire. You're not sure you've put enough space to hold them off. They will be attacking next round.
Okay.
All right. Then we are going to pivot back to the engines team. Dyne and Evelene, what are you doing?
Well,
sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, Evelene is currently walking into an engine, and Dyne is watching her do it.
So an engineer and a doctor walk into an engine.
The doctor says no. Seems too dangerous.
And then the doctor says, damn it, man, I'm a doctor, not an engineer.
All right, go ahead, Chuck.
Yeah, I'm going to go, I guess, so the wiring was not the issue with the engine, but just getting to the engine. So now I need to figure out what's wrong with the engine.
The wiring was only part of the problem. Okay. This engine is like, it's off. It's like going, but it's not going anywhere. It's like disconnected from the ship. Basically, a fancy way of saying you need to reroute the power of this engine. Its reactor is not being effective. It is burning away fuel for no purpose other than making dangerous electric wires you could get electrocuted by. You will need to do something to repair the power connection into the actual thrusters of the engine and the power of the ship itself.
Okay, yeah, so rerouting the power. This feels like another hacker fix.
Yeah, just tell me your way in. Tell me the picture, the scene, the audience sees of what Evelene's doing to accomplish this.
I like to think that there are these very large cables coming out of the reactor. And Evelene's trying to figure out how to best make these work. Maybe even similar to like Pipe Dream where you're just trying to connect or any of those shitty mobile games where they're trying to get you to connect the pipes to reroute sewage.
The BioShock hacking game.
That too. There you go. Yeah. So she's trying to figure out, okay, how can I use the wires that are available that aren't, or the cables that aren't live, to basically reroute the power to something that we can actually work with.
All right.
I was going to say, I would like to try and do something to hopefully give Evelene an advantage.
Sure.
Okay. What do you do?
So Dyne doesn't know much about engines. However, he happens to have an AI who's just better at processing this type of thing, and she probably has access to the schematics of the ship from at some point just scanning the stupid ship, because that's what Artemis does when she's bored. I assume.
I didn't know this.
Basically, what I want to do is have Artemis talk with Evelene to give him an advantage in the most efficient way to rewire whatever he's doing. Because I assume that she's able to do something like that relatively quickly.
Okay. Yeah, you're going to try and patch Artemis in. This is going to be kind of a timing thing here and a contact thing. What do you see Dyne doing? What's the action we see Dyne taking to achieve this role?
This is probably... Spot doesn't work in this because I'm passing along the information. This is probably more along the lines of a stake. I don't think I have anything in this case, because the only thing...
Orion.
Yeah.
You have engineering, weapon systems, and reactors.
Oh, that's
you
perfect.
Don't know a whole lot about the rest of the ship. You don't know about the engines. You don't know about the navigation. But power. You know power systems. So I think you might actually have the knowledge to help here.
I think even from a distance, I can probably still give Evelene a much better idea of what she should do.
Okay. So what do we
Nice.
see Orion doing in this moment to help out?
Orion he hasn't gone in through the engine, but he's sitting in the back. Evelene is probably telling him what she's seeing, and based on his knowledge of power systems, she's like, well, you need to do this, move this wire, connect this. I think that's probably the best way based on what I know.
Yeah, you're looking at kind of like the diagnostics at the door, like the door panel.
Yeah.
You're seeing
Sure.
where things aren't connected. You're seeing like, okay, like I can actually look at this panel while Evelene is in there trying to make repairs. Evelene makes a change in a wire. You're like, okay, this is what changed. E5, right? That was E5 that you just messed with, because Evelene, you're dealing with like a nest of wires, right? From everything that got blown up, you know, when the damage was taken. So all of a sudden you're like, okay, I know this is E5 now. When you try to plug that in and Dyne reports back to you. Between the two of you kind of like working back and forth, I think Orion has a chance of giving you some advice here. Let's roll just I'm going to call this a normal pilot check for you, Orion.
Okay.
With the weapon systems and reactors trigger.
Yeah. 19.
That
Pretty
is
good.
more than enough to provide Evelene accuracy on this roll.
Okay, cool. Then is this a dangerous roll of any sort, or is it just a regular pilot check?
This is going to be a regular pilot check, but the stated goal will be get this engine online. The consequence, if you fail this roll, will be the ship is still too slow to effectively evade fire when the weapons open up.
Okay. All right. Hack or fix with accuracy. What? Oh yeah, I guess so. 32.
Well, I guess if you
Jesus.
roll
I
guess if you
don't
roll a
crit.
20 on the d20, get a +6, and then roll a 6 from the accuracy, you would end up with a 32.
My
That's-
brain
What just happened?
possible
All the engines
roll.
came online. I don't understand.
This would have beaten a heroic check if a heroic check was on the board.
Oh my god.
It is there's not really rolls in the system for like rolling a crit or whatever, but I can only imagine that Dyne and Evelene working together down here is just like a sublime moment of like figuring out exactly what's wrong with the ship. Evelene, not only do you find what's wrong with, getting the power from this engine, from this reactor to the engine, you're able to see, oh, okay, I actually see where the problem are with the systems that getting it to the rest of the ship. You make more permanent fixes in the same amount of time. You're able to quickly switch things back on. I imagine you throw one of those big lever switches and all of a sudden you just see like the reactor go blue, just like bright blue energy as all of you feel like the initial G's of inertia as another engine just lights back up. And I'm going to say, up in the cockpit, Steve, your panel that was showing like this is all the problems you're dealing with. Your maneuverability is down like 42%. Your speed is down like 37%. Like, don't put too much stress on this. Oh, this reactor's overheating. All of a sudden, your panel turns fucking green. Like all the errors that were being thrown in your face are just like, it's just the ship works. The ship works now.
I like to think it was the stim that did it. I'm that
Yeah,
wired
just-
right now.
Evelyn's just fucking sweating from all the adrenaline pumping through her veins.
Yeah.
I'll yell hold on throughout the ship and just start pulling us out.
All right. Up in the pilot's seat, it is as the bogies pull up behind you and as you're approaching the satellite in atmosphere, like just above the planet's atmosphere, that you get this sudden burst of power from the engines. The systems seem online. There's still damage to the ship, but all of a sudden it feels like it's flying way more evenly, way more normally, even. You two both have an opportunity to act before the enemies open up weapons on you and before you make it to the satellite. Whatever order you would like.
I'm gonna do a get somewhere quickly to try to get us to the satellite as fast as possible with the engines now.
Okay. Yeah. We'll say that because you have like literally a sudden boost of speed, you can absolutely attempt to kind of like surprise them here.
Are we a pretty good distance away still?
Yeah, they are closing in on you. If you both have bad rolls, attacks will start to hit the ship.
Okay, I have another idea. Assuming there's still valleys and mountainous terrain around, right? I send a message to the scientist dude, asking if he can recreate the signal for that worm thing.
The one thing I will say is you've been climbing an atmosphere, so you're probably quite a bit away from the ground at this point.
Okay. I wouldn't be far enough down to try to like lure him down and...
If you dipped back down into the planet, I would absolutely say so, but you're approaching the satellite because you've been heading up to get out of the planet so far.
Okay, all right. Never mind then. Then, yeah, I'll just go quick. Or try to.
All right. You no longer are suffering from difficulty on this check.
Okay. I can't make a roll. It's 8.
Oh, even with that burst of speed, even with the restored maneuverability of the ship, you're... Roll a d6. I'm sorry. Roll a d6. That is so unfortunate. You roll a 1.
So
I forgot that I was going to give you accuracy because of the sudden burst of speed. So it should have been a d20 plus accuracy. The accuracy doesn't do enough, unfortunately. You pull away. The ships behind you are still gaining. They have you on sensor lock. You hear Jessica shout from behind you. Is like, they have a solid tone. Astro, what do you do?
All right. I guess. Let me think. Can I try what I was doing before, or is it too late and they're on us?
They're on you. You can still try to take them out, but if your goal is shoot them down, it will become a dangerous check.
I still want to. My goal is still to hold them off.
But because they've closed distance and are in weapon range, doing the I shoot towards them move will be a dangerous check. This you do something more creative that like implies another avenue forward. This way forward is now dangerous.
Okay.
You can absolutely do it. If you succeed, you'll still get what you want. I'm just saying, like, there will be consequences for not doing it this way.
I'm just trying to decide if at this point, do I just want to try to shoot him down? Or, like, would that be better at this point? Because even if we buy ourselves some time, they're still kind of going to be on us. Can they leave atmosphere, these ships? These interceptors?
These ships are specifically in atmosphere interceptors.
Okay. If we leave the planet, they can't follow.
They might be able to, but they are not built for it. These are aerodynamically designed. Like, they look like, F-14s or whatever, right? They look like, planetary flight ships.
Okay, so I'm going to try the same thing as before. I'm going to try to hold them off, slow their approach by firing upon them, and I'll just have to take the danger.
Okay. This will be a dangerous roll. Go ahead and roll your take control.
All right, here we go. 4. Oh God.
What are these rolls?
Why do you take all of the luck, Chuck? You didn't need that much luck.
I'm sorry. I needed I need to get a
you
win.
try to put some shots on target. You try to make some space in between you and them. Unfortunately, they're coming up too fast on you. This is what they were built for. As they release some ordnance towards the DBC. Evelene and Dyne in the back, you feel the ship rock as all of a sudden the back end of the DBC bobs up and down. Evelene, you see like the anchor you had on the wall holding those wires back detaches as the wires like wave in front of you, making a sea of danger between you and Dyne. Dyne, you see a few more bits of red pop up on the diagnostic screen you have to your side.
Just for this engine?
For the back of the ship.
Okay.
Yeah, for the engines area of the ship.
Yeah.
All right, and it is back to you two. The ship is under attack, and the rocking of the ship, the Star Trek, everyone gets thrown to one side thing just happened. And as that happens, your way through the wires becomes compromised, Evelene. You know there is repair work to be done on the ship, but you're not also sure if that's going to be the best use of your talents or not. The engines are up. What do the two of you think the best use of your time is right now?
Well, for starters, I'm trapped. That seems like a good starting thing to address.
Could be.
Besides that, I mean, probably not fix Astro's mech. I don't think it's going to help us here. What do you feel, Dyne? I mean, other than patching up the ship just to make sure if we can take the hits.
Man, that's... I mean, if we're going into the atmosphere, I don't really think we can do anything with our mechs until we actually...
Well,
we're not set up for it at the moment.
Maybe fixing Astro's mech isn't a bad idea. It has, virus programs worked into it and an AI that can, work them to an extent, right?
Yeah.
If you just slowed down to those interceptors on us, then...
Yeah, you can hack them.
If they get within 20 sensors, I think is your sensor range.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
All right,
I would say that's probably about
thought.
how close. Yeah, they're probably within sensor ranges of both the ship and Astro's mech at this point.
All right, that seems like a good choice.
How about this?
It doesn't need to be mobile. It just needs to function.
Yeah.
You go fix Astro's mech. I will figure out how to get out of here.
I say, are you sure?
What's the worst that can happen?
I look at her with the strangest expression on my face. Turn
So
around
much.
and run and run towards the mech bay.
Okay, absolutely. We'll start with Evelene since the thing she's dealing with is right in front of her.
Okay. So when you said that so that wire we were using to hold back the wires.
It just pulled loose. In the rocking of the ship, it pulled loose.
So the side that came loose was on the side that I'm on, right?
That's right.
Is there any way I could pull it, just grab the cable and pull the gun toward me, or would that eventually potentially touch the wires?
It will still be dangerous. It's still going to be a dangerous check, but you will be able to use your equipment if you succeed it. Okay. So what I would say is what that sounds like to me is you risk pulling off the same maneuver, knowing that trying to get a hold of that piece of equipment could hurt you.
Yeah, I'm just checking to see if I have anything else available to me to help with this situation.
Now, you are on the side of the engine that has the reactor. You could technically turn off the power to these wires, but that will be your full action to do so. You will also not get anywhere. You know what I mean?
That also seems ill-advised since we're trying to escape.
Right. Basically, what it would do is it would give you a safe exit, but that would be your role this turn, rather than also getting you somewhere.
In retrospect, it probably would have made sense to get Dyne to just throw me the other end instead of me pulling it.
I mean, it would have been a dangerous, like narratively, I'm going to tell you that still probably would have been a dangerous check because you would have still had to do the equipment thing. Like ultimately, the narrative positioning is there is a dangerous hazard to overcome. How you do it is up to you.
Okay. You know what? Yeah, let me just try pulling the wire. I think that's my best bet right now. I don't see anything else. Like, that was the only thing we really had to push that stuff back, so getting the gun back is probably the right avenue.
Okay. That's going to be your pilot check, and then based on your avenue of access, and then just it's dangerous.
Stay cool.
Stay cool is fine. Absolutely.
Whew. All right. Here goes something. No modifiers?
Nope, no modifiers. Just dangerous.
All right. 10.
10.
I will take a hit.
Yeah, you reach out for your grapple gun. You are able to pull it towards you, try to pull off the same maneuver. But it is not actually that you get electrocuted. It is that your stim's starting to waver a little bit. The pain is starting to seep back in. You were brought up very tentatively, and as you're pushing yourself, you're able to pull these wires to one side that's very heavy. You're able to move forward. You're starting to like slow, Chimera. You're starting to slow pretty bad. You know that you have borrowed energy right now, and you're probably going to crash after this now. But
okay.
you have gotten out. You can go do what you think you need to do.
I'm going to go help Dyne.
Okay. Dyne, you make your way to the mech bay. The mech bay actually looks pretty fine. Other than some cargo being thrown this way and that. The mech hangars are bolted down. They're secured. They're meant for this. The mechs are loaded into their bays. You see them all in the state of disarray. You left them after that fight, including Astro's mech being kind of foobar.
Okay. So my entire purpose is I don't care whether or not his mech can move. I just want it to be able to turn on to be able to use its tech systems. So essentially, Dyne is going to focus the entirety of his repairs on the electrical systems and making sure that the reactor works.
Okay. Yeah, you can do that.
Okay. Yeah, that is like... It's the quick and dirty, I just need it to run.
Totally. Yeah, go ahead and make me a pilot check. This is going to be straight up and down roll.
Yeah. Well, since I'm trying to make sure the reactor works, engineering with my weapon systems and reactors seems
that
appropriate.
Makes sense to me. Yep.
19.
Yep. You were able to spin up the reactor and get that one system active. You slightly worry that this might make it more complicated to fix fully because you had to kind of like cannibalize some internal systems to make this work. But it is functioning the way you wanted it to.
I'm going to say that I'm inside the mech as it turns on, and I assume that is it Kubrick?
It's Kubrick now, yes.
Is it Kubrick? And I as he comes online, I go, we're in a bit of a pinch, Kubrick. Astro is elsewhere. I need you to kind of do a diagnostic and get ready for some invasive tech. Astro will be here soon.
As Kubrick boots up, it's very much like, get me my equipment. I need to get to work at once, as you see a bunch of things spin up on the computer screens.
I'll just tell him, I managed to get you online. You're not going to be mobile for a while, but this is what we can do. This is the best that we can do.
All right. Kubrick will get to work. Now we're going to flash back to cockpit team, or cockpit and turret team now, since Astro has gone to do something else. Astro, you are having trouble trying to, with these kind of like makeshift turrets, do anything about the interceptors coming on you. But you know that you're still making, progress as your pilot continues to get you towards the satellite. I would say you guys are approaching range satellite range, systems range of the satellite. The satellite is just in orbit, and the out of atmosphere is just beyond it.
Okay.
What do the two of you want to do?
Okay. Did you guys let me know when you fixed my mech?
I would have sent a message that Kubrick is online, and that would have been the entirety of the message.
Okay. Has that happened yet at this stage, or are we still...
Yep.
Okay.
The back and forth is happening when the back and forth happens.
Okay. Let me just see. I think if that's the case, I'll let everyone know. Okay, I'm gonna go to the I'm gonna go get inside the mise en scène and try to use my systems there to interfere, and maybe also interfere with the satellite since we're getting in range. And I'll leave Diltep in the upper turret.
Okay. So yeah, Diltep's gonna try to keep just making space for you all. He'll try to take a shot on the ships if he can, but he is having the damnedest time trying to aim on them. Since you're on the way to your mech, that costs you some time, but not enough time to waste your roll. So I'm just going to say this round we'll need Steve's roll first.
Okay.
So Steve, what are you trying to do?
Dude, I don't know. I failed everything.
You would have heard the transmissions that your allies just did. You would know that Astro is leaving the bottom turret to go to the mech, so you know that it's just Diltep on the top turret now. You know you're coming within range of the satellite. You know that the people behind you are still following and coming up on you. You know that breaking atmosphere is just beyond the satellite. All this info is being routed to you via Jessica, who is also still here in the room trying to help.
Okay. And I know Astro's going to go invade them, right?
Yeah, he's going to try and get to his electronic warfare systems.
All right, I'm going to try to do a kind of an S maneuver where like I'm doing like a pullback on the ship, one to get Diltep a better shot from the top, two to like kind of U-turn on them a little.
Okay.
And then hopefully time it for doing like a 180, right? And then as they get invaded, then go back to straightening it out back from the 180. So it almost makes like an S curve, so that when they're getting invaded, hopefully they don't see us turn back the other way, depending on what happens to their systems. So kind of try to trick them. Okay.
Man, this guy knows some maneuvers. Let's roll that up. That sounds great.
Okay. Stay cool or get somewhere quickly are the only possible ones here.
I would say this is definitely dexterity or speed or precision under pressure. Get somewhere quickly. You're in complication, so it's probably less get somewhere quickly on this one.
Okay. I'll do stay cool then. 14. Hopefully that does something.
That is a success. You're able to pull up and out of the line of fire. You're able to complete the maneuver you described. You luck out, KESTRAL, because as you're pulling off this maneuver, they're caught off guard with their maneuvers. You, with a much slower and much bulkier ship, have outmaneuvered these fighters, and Diltep gets a square shot on one of them. It doesn't blow it up because these are like not the best weapons in the world, but you see some black smoke all of a sudden come out of the tail engine of one of the two interceptors as it has to peel off and can't continue chasing you into the upper atmosphere anymore. You have lost one follower.
I'll take it.
All right. By this time, I mean, there is inertial stabilizers in the ship. You're not getting all thrown around every time KESTRAL makes a maneuver, but you all feel some slight tugs as the G's have to like rectify themselves. So you can tell, some things are happening outside. But Astro, you are able to quickly move your way through the hallways, get yourself to the hangar, and see just as Dyne is able to get very little of the mise-en-scène operating.
Okay.
It is more like he got your AI and a laptop operating.
Yeah.
I got the cockpit turned on.
Yeah.
I warmed the seat for you.
Hey, that's important too. I need a nice warm seat to keep me focused.
Question for you, Todd. How many repair cap does the mise-en-scène have left?
I will tell you it's 3.
3. So you use all 3, and I'll take 1 because it takes 4 to get a restored mech back to operate, like functioning.
Okay.
All right, so you'll go down to 0 repair cap left, and then
I'll go
Dyne,
from 4 to 3.
You'll spend 1 of your repair cap. Now, that does mean that your mech is repaired with only 1 stress and 1 structure.
Yes.
Okay. Structure. Got it. And full HP, right?
Full HP, of course.
Okay.
I'm not a monster.
All right. Cool. Well, so now he gets himself into the mech, and he's like, all right, Kubrick, we have to mess with these interceptors that are on us. And how many are there? We lost 1, right?
One of them is gone. You no longer see it on the sensors. You weren't paying attention when it happened, so you don't know what happened to it. It's not following you.
So I'd like to use my let me just see here real quick. Okay. So I'm going to use my ORION system upgrade that's installed on the mise-en-scène, and I'd like to use a puppet system invade on one of the interceptors, and I'm going to hopefully try to move the interceptor, try to redirect the interceptor to crash into another ship. And last time I tried this, everything went really well, as I recall.
It crashed into something.
It definitely didn't cause a ship to crash right on top of us. So
I want to give you the most dramatic option possible. So I want to pitch you on something. You don't have to do this.
I like it. Yeah.
If you try,
you haven't heard it yet.
If you try to puppet system the ship that's chasing you into the satellite you're approaching, I will let you make the attempt. Okay. It will be dangerous, and if you fuck it up, the ship will crash into the DBC instead.
Okay. Wow.
Because basically you'll be throwing on the afterburners on the ship, turning the ship into a missile.
Yeah.
You are between that ship and the satellite. So you can try to aim it to launch it into the satellite, taking out both at once, but you'll have to not hit the DBC in the process.
Okay. Just so a dangerous roll. So on a success, something's going to happen. But
on a success,
it's not going to be.
I'm going to outline the success and problems. On a success, both the ship and the satellite will be destroyed. On a mixed success, the ship will be gone, but also the DBC will take tremendous damage from it crashing into it. Okay. On a full failure, you fail to hack and it just fires on the DBC.
Okay.
You can decline this.
Yeah. I think I do love it, but I don't like the ship hitting us on a mixed success. And I feel like I have an idea of how to handle the satellite anyway. So I'm going to take maybe the less risky move and use puppet system to just either cause the I'm going to try to cause the interceptor to spin out of control, basically.
Yeah. So then if you're just trying to cause it to spin out of control and plummet, on a full success, it happens. The interceptor breaks off, maybe even goes crashing into the ground. Yeah. On a mixed success, it gets a few shots off before that same thing happens. And on a full failure, you fail the hack.
Okay. That sounds good to me. And I'll roll a hacker fix.
Yep, that sounds right.
All right. Whew. Deep breath. Oh my goodness gracious. I rolled a 6. I'm thinking about pushing it.
Yes, you can push it, but that will make it a heroic check because it was already dangerous. Yeah. So you'll need above a 20.
Okay. Fuck it.
So, hold on.
Okay.
Before you roll it, does anyone else want to, I don't know, put themselves in danger or do anything to add any modifiers on Astro's roll if he's going to do this?
Since I'm already in the mech bay, can I hop in the Prometheus, fire it up, and try to give him some sort of technical support?
You could... Okay, again, I'm going to offer you the most traumatic option possible, and you can say no to this.
Yes.
Your mech has been damaged. It needs to repair anyway. Artemis knows a lot about all kinds of things, and can help aiming, can help all kinds of stuff. She can help. But because the systems are damaged, she's going to push you to ask you to take her limiter off that partitioned that side of her consciousness off that you put on her.
Okay.
Once you take that away, it's gone, though. So it's a one-time decision. Once that block's off, it's off.
Okay.
That's up to you. It'll give you a big bonus, but it will have repercussions.
Oh, I love repercussions, especially with Artemis. Let's do it.
Okay.
It'll be something.
Artemis says, basically, Dyne, I can help. I think I know how to deal with the overwhelming information now. If you take my limiter off, I can give all of that information to Astro.
I look at Artemis and I go, let's do this.
All right. Dyne, as you remove the block on her consciousness that you used before to prevent her from spiraling out of control, this time, on the screen, that same symbol I've described previously appears. And Astro, to the mise-en-scène, you start getting given lots of information, more information than you think you need, but you start glancing pieces of information that you wouldn't have thought to consider. Things that you don't know how anyone could possibly know. You know which way the ship behind you is going to turn next. You know the name of the person who's piloting that ship's uncle. You are fed a significant amount of information, but it starts to condense itself in front of you. And you are given the keys to the kingdom. I let you retry this roll. It is dangerous again instead of heroic, but now the consequences are worse.
Okay.
So you no longer have to make a heroic roll. It's just a more dangerous.
Okay. Got it.
And you get accuracy because Artemis is helping, which you were going to get anyway. But the big benefit that Dyne has given you is it's no longer a heroic check. It's just the consequences could be worse.
Okay. Cool. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. All right. Well, 16.
A 16 is a success.
Yeah.
The ship behind you spirals off into the distance, but it does get a shot off or two. The DBC rocks and Steve, up in the cockpit, you see that one of the two engines that was just repaired loses some output. It doesn't go offline completely, but you are losing some maneuverability again. The ship is not going to be as quick getting out of the atmosphere as well. Astro, Kubrick shuts off, and you don't know why.
Okay.
You had access to all the systems, and you still do. Kubrick is no longer connected to your system. Kubrick was overwhelmed by the amount of information that Artemis piped to you, and seems to have gone dormant. You will not have access, even after you repair your mech, you will not have access to Kubrick for the remainder of this mission.
Okay. So Astro, knowing that, Astro, like when it happens, he's like, what the fuck? And he tries to reboot Kubrick, but to no avail.
Kubrick reboots. There's nothing wrong with the system. It's like Kubrick has gone nonverbal.
I see.
You know Kubrick is there, can't communicate with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's communicating in static. Well, it was worth it, I think. What do you think, Todd?
I think it was worth it. Absolutely.
Well, a 16 wouldn't have succeeded on a heroic roll, is what I will say.
Yeah.
We would have been way more fucked.
All right.
Cool.
With that, the DBC approaches the satellite. And now the consequence for not trying the big movie star thing is going to become apparent. Because the satellite is still active, it has a weapon system on it. Steve, as you approach the satellite, you see 2 racks of missiles open up along the side of the satellite, and streaks of smoke as 6 missiles launch towards the DBC. What do you do?
Do a barrel roll.
About how long do I have before the missiles get to us?
I'm going to say 10 seconds.
Oh, okay. Shit.
You're approaching the satellite. You're getting within sensor range of the satellite, right? Like, so that you can take it out or shoot it down or do whatever you need to do. It's within firing range now. You just didn't know it had weapons before now.
I doubt I can outrun them or anything.
Now you are going towards it, and those missiles are coming towards you. So they're coming at you. They're not following you from behind or anything.
I'm going to have to tilt down towards them. To 1, give Diltep a shot, and 2, to try to gain speed to get away and past them. So, like, I assume I'm flying up at an angle and they're shooting down at an angle, right?
Absolutely,
well, I want to switch to now going down below past them.
Okay, so you're going to try and dip under them as they approach. Absolutely. That sounds like it's going to be a difficult maneuver. These are fast missiles. What do we see Steve do in the cockpit as this happens?
I just yell, hold on, right? And then click some switches and stuff, and then just push down onto the controls, right?
And the evasive maneuvers to get out of the range of this are so dramatic, even with the G correction, it is apparent to all of you on the ship that there's like a moment of that weird weightless feeling in your stomachs as the ship jerks underneath of you. All right, Kestrel, this is going to be a dangerous check.
I mean, it's just really stay cool again, honestly.
All right.
Same roll.
I am, because this is a very complex maneuver, going to give you accuracy from your pilot background.
Okay. All right. 23.
Hey.
That's the payoff you want.
Yeah.
There we go. With that, this stomach-wrenching maneuver where you dip under these very close-range missiles, they just pass over the nose of the ship, and you see these are not guided missiles. These are like shotgun missiles. They explode as soon as they're like, maybe like 70 feet past you, right? They just boom, boom, boom. You see a bunch of explosions behind you, knowing that could have been you. You dip under the missiles, rise back up. You were coming up at an angle before. Now it's like you're rising up like Jaws in the movie poster directly beneath the satellite. You are poised, and because you know how the missiles fire, you have got yourself into a position where they will need to retarget to shoot at you again.
Awesome. Wipes brow.
Yeah. Jessica wipes brow. All right. Team 2
heart skips.
Yeah, he is in the top gunner seat, right? One of the missiles probably goes right past where he is sitting. He would have been fucking dead. Other team, are you going to be able to do anything to help here? You're approaching the satellite. Evelene, you've arrived in the hangar bay. You see Dyne and Astro working. You drag yourself in. What are the three of you trying to do?
So just kind of like as a free thing, I see Evelene. I see her kind of like droop, like kind of like the stem's wearing off. And I hand her the last stem, which is another, kick? And I go, emergencies only. And I enunciate that extremely.
All right, I put it in my pocket.
I was waiting for you to immediately use it.
I was thinking it.
And I go, okay, so, Astro, what do we need to do to make sure that you're able to hack this thing?
If you can get so Kubrick's down, but if you could get Artemis to help me expose any vulnerabilities in the
enough said. Let's link our systems as I hop in back in the Prometheus.
All right. Perfect. So the goal is still hack the satellite, right?
Yes.
Hack the satellite, disrupt the warning system.
Evelene.
Meanwhile, Artemis, ew, does this mech even have guns?
Not right now, it doesn't. Remember, they both got destroyed in the worm fight.
Yeah, they did.
Yep. So here's what I think happens. Evelene, as you limp into the room, you note the mise-en-scène is still fucking messed up. You are primarily a mech tech. You could try to assist by repairing some of the electronic system of the mise-en-scène as he loads up his system.
I was going to propose that, so yes.
Perfect. Yeah.
Great.
So, and then Dyne, you're assisting by getting Artemis to help him lock in. So I want an assist roll from the both of you for what you're doing.
Okay. That is the Prometheus. That is not the right.
So what I've noticed is if you guys pull up your mech sheet, you can click on your picture on that first page and it'll pull up your pilot sheet.
Oh,
good to know.
I didn't know that.
I'll be damned. Good to know. Okay. I'm thinking creative engineering to say, like, okay, what can I do to get this working in whatever time I've got before the hack needs to happen?
Totally. I'll let you do that for sure. Let's do yours first. These are both going to be up and down pilot rolls for the two of you to assist.
Okay. Here's mine. 26.
26. Evelene, you are back in your comfort zone. Working on mechs is what you do. And the mise-en-scène is a bit of a weird mech, but you're familiar with it. You're the mech tech that's worked for this crew. You immediately start seeing where things went badly. You've seen Astro's mechs destroyed before. It happens all the time. This is like old hat for you.
Yeah.
Actually, just sidebar, do I notice that Dyne has removed the limiter on Artemis? Because I wasn't around for this.
I don't think you do. I think you came in after that happened.
Okay, then I have no idea what's going on.
All right.
Yeah.
No, say in my case, it's probably stay cool because I'm trying to link up Artemis to help Astro while managing the overwhelming amount of information so she doesn't blow his system entirely.
That is what this is, totally, 100%. The Artemis has slowly been working your mech to be able to handle this. Astra's mech is not prepared for Artemis.
Yeah.
So you're going to try and be the conduit that links these two things.
I'm her new limiter.
Yeah, basically. You are a personal limiter at this point.
24.
A 24. Astro. Your systems are online. You feel like you see the power come back into your systems. You no longer have to stop and use roundabout ways to do what you're doing. Artemis's info comes in, screened by Dyne. You feel like you have a solid shot at whatever you attempt next. You're going to roll whatever you roll with +2 accuracy.
Okay. I'd just like to point out that the last 3 rolls from Steve, Evelene, and Dyne were all above 20. So let's hope Astro doesn't fuck it up here. So he's going to use every advantage he has at his disposal to invade the satellite system and screw up its detection and warning system. It might have detected us already, but maybe we can send faulty info so so other people that are getting this information don't have a good lock on where we actually are.
So because Steve's maneuver got you out of the firing arc of the satellite before, this is not even a dangerous check. This is going to be a straight pilot check +2 accuracy.
Okay, guys, you gave me every single advantage I could ask for.
We all know where this is going.
100%.
Let's see how this goes. Hey, 29!
Hey, that's a good roll.
So now all 4 of you have gotten an above 20 check. Astro.
Actually, each one of us rolled a 20, except for me.
Oh, you're right, yeah.
So you're able. That's right. Jesus Christ, guys. Okay.
We really came through in the clutch.
Yeah.
God.
Astro, you are able to get into the detection systems of the satellite, and you are able to basically feed in false information of your ship being destroyed. You're able to basically do that, feed it false info, and you give it oh yeah, you're it even gives your what is it called, your engine signature and stuff like that. You know what that would look like if you were destroyed, because Artemis tells you in great detail, I've calculated exactly what it would look like if the DBC explodes. Do you want to see? And feeds you that information.
No.
I'm I don't need to see it, just tell the satellite that.
And you feed it to the satellite, and the satellite sees what it's like if the DBC explodes. Except that's not what happens.
Satellite
you guys
also wonder why it gets the name of its creator sent to it.
Yeah, right? The Mizrahi Corporation, what? Anyway, you guys blast past the satellite and make it to the void. You've made it off planet. As far as you are aware, after a few minutes of hard pushing your engines, you drop out of the sensor net of the mech, of the net above the planet, and you all breathe a collective sigh of relief. Not all of your problems have been solved, but the most immediate ones have all been taken care of, and that's where we'll pick up with our next session.
Oh boy.
Right.
That was a nail
We
biter.
survived.
What a
Holy
ride.
shit.
All right, well, thanks for watching, and we'll see you all next time. Bye-bye.
See ya.
Bye.
Yep, see ya.